Setting up your well-planned weekly planner. In this section, we are going to go through all of the cleaning and home maintenance related tools that you will find spread throughout your weekly planner. To get started, we are going to begin with this set here, the set of tools that you will find at the end of your initial setup tools. You can find this specific spread right before you dive into the first month of your year. As you can see, I have a handful of checklists here, and let's walk through which each one of them is so you can better understand how to use these tools in your life. Let's go ahead and get started with the monthly deep cleaning checklist here on the left-hand side. As you can see, listed here on the left is a variety of different tasks that generally need to be completed in most households throughout the world. But these aren't tasks that need to be done every single week, and so we don't need to necessarily include them in our regular weekly or bi-weekly cleaning plan. These are tasks that are important to do because they help to maintain the integrity of our items and objects and help us to keep our home running and looking good. So the way you can use this really depends on the kind of season you're in and the way that you feel these items need to be tended to. For example, there are some things listed here that you may tell yourself, I don't need to deep clean the inside of my oven every single month. Perhaps your oven is not used as frequently or it doesn't get that messy and you don't need to tend to it every single month. But it is recommended that you do tend to it at least in some consistent manner. So if you choose to tend to an item or a task every month, you'll simply check it off as you complete it that month. But if you decide that you would like to instead tend to certain tasks in a different order, such as every 3 months, 6 months, or maybe just once a year, you can go ahead and check it off when it's been completed, and then you'll know that it is done for you and you have handled that task for the year or for whatever rotation of time you'd like. There is space here for you to add extra things if you have some different tasks that you would like to tend to each month or on every few months. You can list those here as well. Go ahead and take some time to read through this list and see how you feel about these tasks. And once you've determined which tasks you would like to tend to in your own home, go ahead and make a plan for when you're going to tend to them. My recommendation would be not to try and tend to each of them every month because that's not reasonable and that's just going to create additional overwhelm. But instead, pick 1 to 2 to tend to every month and work through them at a pace that feels manageable for you. For the things that you do feel like need to be done each month, pick a week each month that you're going to tend to those items. So that way you're in a routine of consistently tending to them and you won't feel like you need to catch up at the end of the month. For the tasks that you think and believe only need to be tended to quarterly or every 6 months, go ahead and pick what month of the year you'd like to tend to those things and make a plan for that month so that you can make sure you are tending to them. This can be as simple as moving that task to that appropriate month's to-do list so you remember when that month comes around that you need to tend to those maintenance tasks. Over here on the right-hand side, you'll first see the yearly home and life's task list. So as I mentioned, there are things in your home and life that need to be tended to, but don't necessarily need to be tended to every day or every week. And so because they're not at the forefront of our mind in our regular day-to-day, we tend to forget them, and forgetting them can often lead to stress when suddenly, oh no, I forgot that thing and now I have to rush to try and get it scheduled or handled or what have you. If we can take some time to line out all of the things that we need to tend to throughout the year, we can make a plan for when to tend to them. And that is what this list is designed to do. I've gone ahead and included 3 items that I think are important to include in each year. These are 3 things that you should try to complete each year to make sure that they are getting done. That's going to be your yearly budget review and then personal health and dental checkups for both you and your children. There are going to be a whole host of other home and life-related tasks that your family and your home might need, and so I recommend taking some time to go ahead and list those out here. What these are going to be are things that need to happen, but only need to happen once a year. So some ideas include getting prepared for a back-to-school season, preparing for summer camps, setting up any sort of yearly budget check-ins or bill payments that might need to be set up year to year. Once you have your list set, make sure to include what month it is that you need these to be completed. This generally is not going to be the month that these things are scheduled to happen. Oftentimes, if it's, say, an appointment or a bill that needs to be paid, make sure you're giving yourself enough time to get it completed before the due date or before it's actually needed. That way you're technically on schedule and not behind. Then down here, you're going to see that there are two lists. There's your spring prep and maintenance list and your fall prep and maintenance list. These two sections really are specifically geared towards your home. And these are lists where you can go through and make sure that you complete these seasonal tasks to keep your home running well and being well cared for. I've gone ahead and included some basic tasks and maintenance ideas, but if you feel like there are certain things that you'd like to add based on where you live and the climate of your residence, go ahead and put those on here as well. And one other point before we end this spread here, remember that writing them down is just the beginning. This is to kind of get everything out of your head and onto paper, but you have to make sure that you're creating a plan for actually completing these tasks. So each month, I recommend that you come back to this spread and look and see what needs to be tended to. So if in January, you have decided that that's going to be the month that you schedule some appointments, and it's also going to be the month that you deep clean the inside of your oven and clean or vacuum under large furniture, make sure that you add those tasks and those life to-dos to your monthly to-do list so you can plan for when and how to tend to them. And then once you've completed them, simply check them off. That simple check mark is going to help you know that you are staying on top of all those little things. And as I've mentioned before, it's that routine tending that keeps our home running smoothly. When we do a little bit each day, each week, each month, it all snowballs into a more consistently cared for place, and we won't find ourselves in a position of having overwhelming to-do lists and multiple fires to try and put out throughout our home and life. We can rest easy knowing that our home is cared for because we are dedicating a certain amount of time each day, week, and month to make sure it is so. The next home maintenance and cleaning checklist that I would like to draw your attention to is here on the left-hand side. This is your daily home reset list. You're going to find this just before the first month of your planner. And this list is a tool to help you to get into the routine of closing down your home at the end of the day. So one of the things I hear often from women is that they feel like their house is out of control. Everybody comes home at the end of the day, and it's kind of just a train wreck, truthfully, in through dinner, bed, bath, and they kind of just fall into their beds, waking the next morning feeling stressed and overwhelmed because their home is cluttered or messy, and they just don't know how to handle that or how to deal with it. And the truth is, clutter and mess has been shown to increase our anxiety and our just mental unease. And so we want to do what we can to prevent that as much as possible. And you're going to be able to do that by having a dedicated home reset time. In our family, we generally complete this after dinner, but you may choose to add components of this into your evening routine kind of as you're flowing through the evening. And the idea is that every main area of your home, every area that you've kind of used throughout the evening and day, gets returned to its kind of starting place. And I've put a list here of different tasks that need to be completed in order to return that space to sort of baseline. An example is in your living spaces, putting all the items back into their homes, folding blankets and returning pillows. This is a way of saying, we've used this facility, this area, but we are all done, and now we're going to reestablish it. We're going to reset it so that we can use it again tomorrow. By going through each of these areas and doing this reset work, you'll be able to set yourself and your family up for a smoother transition in the morning. You'll know where things are because everything was put back where it belongs. You'll have things prepped for that next day, and you'll have a clean space for which to operate from. Take some time to review the tasks that I've listed here, and if you feel like there are other ones that you would like to add, go ahead and add that as well. There is some space down here at the bottom where you can include different rooms or different tasks that you'd like to see done every evening to make sure that you and your family are set up for success in the coming morning. The last cleaning related tool that I'm going to walk you through is going to be found in every single month of your planner. It is going to be found at the end of your planner just before the last notes pages and before you head into the next month. This is going to be your weekly cleaning checklist. The design of this tool is such that it is designed to help you to complete a constant rotation of cleaning in your home. All too often, we come in as moms and kind of approach our home in a triage sort of way. Maybe we let it go for a long time and then it becomes overwhelming, and suddenly now we are angry mom running around with a vacuum in one hand and a scrub brush in the other, telling everybody it's time to clean up, it's time to clean up. I've been there. It is not fun for anybody. And so in order to prevent that sort of chaos and negative energy, the best way is to tend to your tasks in a rolling manner. The example I like to use that correlates with this is the Golden Gate Bridge and the painters of the Golden Gate Bridge. It has been said that there are specific employees whose entire job is to paint the Golden Gate Bridge. They start at one section and they just simply move down the Golden Gate Bridge, painting every single day. But by the time they get to the end, the start of the Golden Gate Bridge needs tended to again. So they just come back and they keep going. And it's this cycle of care that keeps the bridge looking good and its iconic color. That is how we are going to approach cleaning our home. If we try to do everything all at once, we are going to burn out and everybody in the house is going to be afraid of us and nobody's going to be enjoying themselves. But if we break our tending of the home up into small manageable tasks throughout the week or every 2 weeks, and we do a little bit every single day, we can rest easy knowing that all of the areas in our home have been tended to and cleaned. When this sort of cleaning schedule is paired with your daily reset, you will find that it is pretty easy to maintain your home. The way I recommend doing this is to either choose one space to tend to each day or choose a specific amount of time you're going to tend to cleaning each day and check things off your list as you go. The goal is to be able to complete all of these tasks within a week or 2 weeks, depending on how busy your life is. So that way you can know that you have deep cleaned your home completely within that time frame. Even if it didn't all happen on one day, within that 1 to 2 weeks, it has all been completed. What you'll do is you'll just simply come to this sheet and you'll check off the tasks that you've completed, and then you can know that that has been tended to. Then when you pair that with your daily reset list and you and your family are putting everything back where it goes and avoiding piles and clutter, you will be able to rest easy knowing that now your home is not only cleaned, but it's also tidy.